There are certain players who can't seem to please anybody no matter what they do. They say football is a game of numbers, but these guys could give you incredible numbers and they would still find themselves on the receiving end of some heavy criticism from fans and the media. Why does this happen, and who are the biggest victims? You'll find out in this video today. These are the 7 most over-criticized players in the world right now. Top of the list has to be Marcus Rashford. No matter what he does, it just is never good enough. It's like it has just become a cool trend to pile on him and make him the scapegoat every time. Even in games where there were obvious defensive errors and even red cards, fans somehow managed to blame the losses on Rashford. And don't get us wrong here, we're not saying that he is above criticism, no one is actually, but the point is, Rashford is always over-criticized. For most up for Barcelona's best players at different points in the season. It is really one of the best loan spells in modern football history, but you go on the internet sometimes and it's like he's the worst player in the world. It's just over-criticism which has gone too far. And it feels like it might be a Man United thing because Bruno Fernandes also gets treated that way sometimes. He has been United's best player since he joined, but some people try to paint it like he's the one still holding the club back. We're talking about a guy who can score, create and orchestrate at a very high level and has performed brilliantly and consistently under different coaches. But it's like there always has to be a complaint about him, whether from the media, rivals, ex-players or sometimes even his own fans. Bruno could have a really good game and then you'd have people start to overanalyze emotions during the game, his leadership qualities or how many times he lost the ball. Yes, players losing the ball can be frustrating, but it is part of what makes players like him great. They are always trying the difficult things and obviously those things won't always come off, so they'll lose the ball. But when they come off, they can win you a game, and that's why it's a good trade-off. The best playmakers in the world like De Bruyne and Lamine Yamal lose the ball a lot. Everyone knows that you just have to take the good with the bad, but when it comes to Bruno, people just go crazy about the small stuff, and we really don't understand why. Another Premier League star who belongs on this list is Viktor Gyökeres. He is a striker. His job is to score goals, and he is doing that better than any striker Mikel Arteta has ever managed. But there are still always complaints and criticisms. Before he even kicked a ball in the Premier League, fans, including some of the Arsenal persuasion, already had it in for him. They called him fat, meanwhile he is just athletic. They made fun of how often he touches his hair, and they had all sorts to say about what his movement looks like. But really, none of that should matter if he's doing his job. He was brought in to score goals and he has been doing exactly that. Right now, he is 3rd for most goals by an Arsenal player in their debut season in the Premier League era. And with 3 games still to play this season, there's a chance he could climb up to 1st above Thierry Henry and Alexis Sanchez. He's one of the Premier League's top 5 highest goal scorers this season, and it looks like he's leading Arsenal to the title. But people want to focus on how he runs or how flexible he is. That's just ridiculous. He has outscored most of the other strikers he was compared to at the beginning of the season, but he still gets more criticism than any of them. It's just crazy. And you know what else we find crazy? The treatment of Kylian Mbappé by Real Madrid fans and most of the world these days. We'll reiterate, there's no player who's above criticism, but what we're seeing has definitely gone beyond that. It feels like it is just a trend now. Mbappé could score a hat-trick in a game and fans would still blame him if they lose. And no, this is not fiction. We actually saw it happen in the Clásico last season. This season, Mbappé scored in both Champions League quarter-final legs against Bayern Munich, and he was still being blamed for the team not making it through. Really, where's the logic in that? He is the striker. He was brought in to score goals, and he has been doing that at a better rate than any other player in the world. That should definitely count for something, for a lot actually. Yeah, there can be criticisms about his style and whatnot, but it's just really obvious that he is now being over-criticized just for the sake of it. Real Madrid are in a really bad place right now, and it seems like instead of talking about the real issues, the fans are just blaming it all on Mbappé and moving on. I mean, with or without Mbappé, Real Madrid still lose games. The only difference is that with Mbappé, they lose 2-1, but without him, they lose 2-0. And what we find rather interesting is that when Mbappé doesn't play and Real Madrid loses, everyone just stays quiet. But once he's on the pitch, the loss has to be his fault one way or another, and it doesn't matter whether he scored or played well. It's actually just so ridiculous. Some will say that he divided the dressing room, but whenever we hear of a fight in Real Madrid training, he's never involved. That right there is just another evidence of the over-criticism he gets. Everything just has to be his fault somehow, even when the evidence points to the contrary. Moving on, Ronald Araujo is surely another guy who is over-criticized these days. Every single move he makes is over-scrutinized by Barcelona fans. He could do the same thing that every other defender in football history has done, but fans will find a problem with it. Of course, his recent blunders on the big stage did not help his standing with the fans, and for that, he certainly deserved some criticism, but the fans have since taken it too far. It has now gone beyond criticism and is now abuse. It got so bad that he had to take a mental health break earlier in the season. And one thing that really shows how differently he's treated is Barcelona's Champions League run this season. Araujo received more hate for his red card in a league phase game, which ended up meaning absolutely nothing than Kubasi and Eric Garcia, whose red cards in the quarter-finals pretty much cost the team a place in the semis. And it's all very interesting because last season, most Barcelona fans swore that the only problem with the defense was Araujo. But he barely played this season and there are still problems with the defense. It makes you think maybe the Uruguayan was just being over-criticized the whole time. And from a Uruguayan, let's now talk about an Argentinian, Enzo Fernandez. A lot is always being said about Enzo, even by Chelsea fans, and we honestly don't get it. They over-criticize his ability, his passion, his dedication, everything. And it's all very interesting because Enzo has been one of Chelsea's best players this season. If not for him, they would probably be in the bottom half of the Premier League table right now. Despite being a midfielder, he has come up with goals in big games like against Napoli, PSG, City and Liverpool. He also does a lot of defensive work and assumes some creative responsibilities. He's really doing the best he can in a failing system, but somehow fans still seem to want to blame him for things. Not many midfielders in the world can offer what he does, but he hardly ever gets that respect he deserves. Perhaps because he doesn't have the most likable personality. And we think that his teammate Pedro Neto is another guy who is over-criticized, and perhaps the reason for that is because the fans want him to be something that he is not, instead of taking him for what he is. Neto is not a dribbler who can entertain with fancy skills. He is a runner, an outlet, and a good crosser of the ball. He is effective, loves to keep it simple, and is very versatile. A player like this will always be very valuable, but everyone seems to always want to turn a blind eye to that value. Neto has been directly involved in 18 goals for Chelsea this season, but they talk about him like he's one of the worst wingers in the league, nitpicking and amplifying every small mistake he makes. I mean, Neto has more goal involvements than Palmer this season, despite having never taken a penalty, but just listen to how differently both guys are talked about by the fans. Neto helped Chelsea win their last trophy, scoring 3 goals in 6 Club World Cup games, but you never hear anyone talk about him as a major player in that. But the moment he doesn't complete a dribble, everyone on the internet is calling him the worst player ever. In the recent past, the likes of Andre Onana, Harry Maguire, Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Paul Pogba are some guys who have also been victims of over-criticism from fans and the media. But right now, who would you say gets the most unfair criticism in football? Are there more players whose names we left out? Tell us in the comments. Now, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.